Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're gonna go over that nightmare tenant, the worst tenant I've ever had in the 3 years that I've been a landlord, in having 2 different properties in 2 different cities. This is the worst tenant I've ever had. Let's go over the backstory. The woman's name is Sonia Watkins. Number 1. Number 2, she's on Section 8. So there's a predetermined amount that the county of Riverside is going to pay on her behalf. So in this instance, the county of Riverside is paying about $1,280, and she's only having to pay $70. So however that breaks down, I forgot the exact numbers, but she only has to pay $70. I remember that number for sure. I bought the property in December of 2022, and in that first initial meeting, me introducing myself to her, getting to know her. Hey, how do you want to pay the rent? Do you want to pay it through Zelle? Do you want to pay it through Cash App? Do you want to send me a check, et cetera, et cetera? And figuring out who also lives in the unit along with her. In this first initial meeting, she lets me know, hey, you know what? Instead of me paying $70 out of the $1,350, how about I just go around the property and cut the hedges? How about I just pick up the trash around the property and you don't charge me $70? So if she's bringing this up to me, that's letting me know that the previous owner probably had some sort of agreement with her. But immediately I know this is a red flag. And this is how it ended up being the worst tenant I've ever had. So the first thing, she didn't want to pay $70 out of the $1,350. That's number 1. The second thing that happened was I ended up moving into the property just to get a better understanding. The person in Unit 1, I ended up evicting them, and she lives in Unit 2. So we're right next door to each other. I know who's coming, who's going, at what times are they coming, at what times are they going. On the lease, it is showing up that Sonia Watkins should be the only and sole occupant of the Unit 2. What I started noticing as I'm living there and just walking around the property, making sure I get a good understanding of everything, there's a guy that is going in and out. And most of the days he's staying the night over. So this person isn't on the lease. So I ask her, hey, who's this person? It's not your son. So she tells me it's an in-home service specialist or somebody who's supposed to be taking care of her. She's saying that she's disabled or something like that. That's why she gets, Section 8 assistance. So I'm like, okay, this is an in-home service person. But what happens is with the county of Riverside, there's a case manager assigned to each individual person who's receiving Section 8. So I call the case manager. I'm like, just working things out, getting an understanding of who I'm dealing with. She lets me know that this person that's in there is her boyfriend. The case manager snitches on the tenant and lets me know this person that she's saying is an in-home service person there to help her with her disabilities is actually a boyfriend. So what does this mean as a landlord? This means instead of one person using up the water, the electricity, the gas, all that stuff, I'm paying for it, mind you. So some units, you would probably have to pay that yourself. You would pay your own electricity, pay your own gas, pay your own trash, all that good stuff. But me as a property owner, since all 3 units are connected and has one utility, one electricity bill, one gas bill, one trash bill, I'm basically paying for everything. So as a landlord, 2 people using the water, 2 people using the gas, 2 people using the electricity, and you're paying for it. Not when you want to be a financially astute person. So what ended up happening was I'm like, hey, he has to leave. And she didn't like that, of course, but she didn't let me know. She's like, okay, in my face, she's like, okay, well, yeah, I understand. He's not on the lease, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to come back with some documents. And once we can prove that he's an in-home service person, then he'll go ahead and move in. But mind you, I'm living right next door in Unit 1. So she tells me this to my face, and then I can actually see on a daily basis, he's still staying the night. He's still staying for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 days at a time. So I'm like, okay, I know what to do about this. So December of 2022, she didn't pay the rent. I'm like, yes. January rolls around of 2023, she did not pay the rent. Yes. February of 2023, she did not pay the rent. Okay, thank you for that. March of 2023, she didn't pay the rent again. Only thing that's doing is adding up. So from a landlord perspective, when it's time for me to go to the court, file the unlawful detainer and start the eviction process and all the paperwork, all these months are stacking up that she's not paying rent. And I know that on a moment's notice, she's not going to be able to come up with all these months of rent if she was already asking me at the beginning because she not paid for $70. So that's my thinking. So that was the red flag. Along with this not paying the rent, when I told her to tell her boyfriend or in-home service person to leave, that he can't stay there, what started to happen was I watched the utility bills start to stack up. So since I'm paying all of them, there isn't any separate for any individual person within the 3 buildings. I'm paying for all of these people all at once. I started to see, okay, well, why is the water costing me, $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 a month? Why is there 242 gallons being used every single hour? And what I noticed was, and what I found out later, she took the hose that you use to shower, took the head off of it so the water could still go through, but the head wasn't there, and put it over into the top. You know, when you take the top off of the toilet and you can look inside, she put it into the toilet, and she's just continuously running the shower. The shower's running every single fucking hour and is going into the toilet, and the toilet is getting flushed or whatever. But that's how the water bill started going crazy on me. So the water bill is going crazy. This lady's not paying rent. She has another person who's not on the lease actually living with her, soaking up even more utilities, making me pay even more money every single month. And I ended up getting her ass out of there. Had to get her out via the eviction. It took a while, but she ended up getting out. And this, my friends, is my story of my worst tenant, Sonia Watkins. I know she's not going to watch this. She's old. She's a grandmother. But this is one of those stories that, people who don't want to become landlords, they hear stories like this, and it's a drawback. It's something that pushes you away from being a landlord. But I want to let you know, if you have the proper cushion, the financial cushion, the money in the bank, these people playing these games, doing this dumb shit isn't gonna affect you. And you already know, as a landlord, I already ran the numbers before I bought the property, and I ended up getting this lady out. 2 months later, the rent went from $1,350 up to $1,900 per month, and I ended up doing what a good financial person does, which is decrease expenses, increase the income, and stay on track. So even though it turned out to be my worst tenant, it ended up being a good story. Actually, I have a video, and I might link it up top for you to watch. What did the unit look like that she was living in? So after she moved out, how did she leave the unit? I actually have a horror video that you can watch, and I'm gonna link it up top so you can watch it, of what did the unit look like when she actually moved out.